So welcome everybody to Graduate Studies in Learning Technologies. Today we're here with our wonderful professors and a current student, and I'm here to moderate the event. My name is Lisa Hollinger. I'm the Assistant Director of Marketing and Outreach, and we're so glad that you're here today. You may have noticed when you came in that we are recording. So if you want to put your questions in the chat, you can put them in the chat throughout the event, and we will get to them at the end of the event through Q&A. Thank you. I think somebody's letting people in for me. Somebody's taking care of that for me? Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So as I already mentioned, we'll be recording this, and the recording will be available after the event. And if you'd like to have the recording as well as the PowerPoint, all you have to do is let me know. And then put your questions in the chat.
Just hit deny.
Yeah. Oh, I clicked accept. I figured I should accept it. Okay. All right, so let's get started. First, I'd like to introduce our chair, Dr. Shun Ge, and she's going to talk a little bit about herself. So go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Lisa, and good morning and good evening for those who are in India. So my name is Shun Ge, professor and chair of the Department of Learning Technologies, and I got my degree from in instructional systems from the Pennsylvania State University, and my earlier background is in linguistics, English, and I also had a degree in a master's degree in bilingual and multicultural education. So I recently joined the UNT. Before that, I spent my 22 years at the University of Oklahoma as a professor, and then as a 4 years term of the chair. And then professionally and in the field, I was a past president of the Association of Educational Communication and Technology. And I'm currently a co-editor of the journal, Interdisciplinary Journal of Problem-Based Learning. And I'm also serving in several editorial boards of other journals. So my other professional services, I also provide a lot of services to the field, such as American Education Research Association, etc. All right, next slide, please. So my research focus on cognition, motivation, emotion, and epistemic beliefs. And I practice and research designing learning environments and scaffolding tools and strategies. And my focus of learning outcomes and processes have been focused on problem solving, especially real-world problem solving and self-regulations in the very complex EO structure of the context. And because my work has been heavily involved in instructional design and development, so inevitably, my research also look at the assessment and the measurement of learning process and outcomes, especially focused on students' understanding, reasoning, problem solving, and metacognition. So if you look at the technological context that I conducted my study, so they include the game-based learning, extended reality, such as, like a virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. And I being, my research has primarily integrated in the context of problem-based or project-based learning. And then recently, I've been examining OpenAI as a cognitive tool, so how it can be used to effectively support students' reasoning, problem solving, metacognition, etc. So if you are interested in learning more about the department, the various programs in this department, please feel free to contact me. And I have my email address on the slide, and if you want to learn more about my research, and you can find the link here. Yeah, it's also on the UNT's website. All right, so about this department, I have to say that, even though there are so many different departments, almost every university is offering programs related to instructional design, education technology, or learning technologies. But this is the department that has the most comprehensive and complete programs from undergraduate, master's, doctoral program. And we are the only one that has the online PhD program. If you look at the PhD, online program, right? And most of them are EDD, but we offer PhD in both residential and online program. And the students actually interacted pretty well with each other through, annual meetings and the classes they attended together. We have like online classes, synchronous classes. And so this department has expertise in the following area, which you can see from this slide: instructional design and technology, technology integration in K-12 settings, teacher professional development, technology for special needs populations, online blended learning, VR, AR, mixed reality, artificial intelligence, game-based learning, critical thinking, workforce learning and organization management, learning analytics. So our faculty are very productive scholars in the field, and they have like lots of publications, grant proposals. And we have several centers, as you can see in this slide. Texas Center for Education Technology, Institute for the Integration of Technology into Teaching and Learning, Search XR Lab. So our faculty are very active in seeking internal and especially external grants, and also working with the grant-funded projects. And we also offer scholarship and awards, and here are the 4 of them listed on this slide. Dr. Greg Jones Memorial Endowed Award, Dr. Roger Ditzenberger Scholarship, Melvin Moffitt Scholarship, Catherine White Scholarship. And there are also 3-year award for new students. So as you can find the information on this slide, this is offered on a competitive 3-year award to new doctoral students starting for 2021. Now I would like to introduce Dr. Deborah Cochran. She is assistant professor and also the director of the Master Science program. And she's going to talk more about the details of the various concentrations in this program. So Dr. Cochran, please. And I'm going to let you talk about yourself, your background, etc.
Good morning. Welcome, and thank you for joining us so early this morning. Thank you, Dr. Ga. As Dr. Ga said, I'm a clinical assistant professor. I'm director of the Masters of Science program for the Department of Learning Technologies. My background is PhD in Learning Technologies with a minor in psychology, as well as a Master's of Science in Mind, Brain, and Education. There we go. My research interests are varied as Dr. Ga's are. Right now, my primary focus is on AI in education. I'm working on 2 grants currently. One is focused on career skills training for young adults with autism spectrum disorder. And the other one is focused on artificial intelligence in secondary mathematics education. But as you can see, I have a lot of other research interests too, mostly focused on education, cognitive training and emotional support for education. And I do want to tell you about the Masters of Science program. So first, I just want to talk a little bit about what learning technologies is. I know some of you come from a learning technologies background, but I often get the question, what is learning technologies? So basically, learning technologies is a multidisciplinary field. It covers includes communications, computer science, cognitive science, psychology and neuroscience education, and they're all merged, very, very well connected with the core element of communication and information technologies. We have students who start from an education perspective, so you'll be hearing from one of them in just a minute. Jessica is a teacher, and she's working on both the technology and the educational perspective. And then we also have students who come from more of a technical perspective, so maybe focused on developing the tools. But the idea of learning technologies is it's a very collaborative field, and that's actually one of the more exciting parts. It's not something that functions by it's not something where you just have a isolated field where you function by yourself. It takes a team for learning technologies. Marketable skills in the master's program vary, but definitely instructional design and development, instructional technology management and coordination. There's a big focus on multimedia, so content creation with it, technology-based project management. There's a workforce concentration and online content management. As far as career opportunities, our graduates go into just about every area. Business and industry, higher ed, K-12, nonprofit, government. So the world is open. We have a lot of students who become entrepreneurs. So you develop your own job. So lots of opportunities. We have 4 concentrations in the master's program. One is artificial intelligence in education and learning analytics. If you are looking at the Frisco campus, this is the only concentration that we're offering at Frisco currently, but we have the other 4 at the Denton campus and online. Instructional design and technology is another. Teaching and learning with technology, and then workforce leadership and performance management. The primary difference between the instructional design and technology and the teaching and learning with technology is your ultimate goal. Do you want to be working for a corporation or for more of an institution designing the learning environment, or do you want to stay in the classroom? So that would be, we have teachers who choose to stay in the classroom, and they tend to go with the teaching and learning with technology concentration. Okay. And we do have just, I'm not going to read through all of these, but here are some courses that are offered. So we do have computer graphics, video technology, multimedia, some of the tools, and then new technologies of instruction, thinking more about the instructional components. There is a capstone. It's portfolio. I believe that may be on an upcoming slide. So there is no thesis required. It's portfolio based. And I would like to, I actually have the honor to introduce Jessica White. Jessica is one of our master's students. She is graduating in 6 weeks. And she's also the secretary of our student association. So we are delighted to have her with us this morning.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jessica. Thank you for the introduction, Dr. Cockerham. I am very excited to graduate, but I've had a really wonderful 2 years in the program. In that time, I have become secretary of the LTEC Student Association. I've been able to leverage my learning here into a learning technologist position at my campus that I'm on right now. I'm on the instructional systems design path, and I'll be graduating soon. I've been a teacher for 5 years, and it was teaching through the pandemic and the kind of onslaught of digital learning in that era that prompted me to study more and learn more about that area. Throughout the program, I've learned a lot, not only in just, instructional design and building a course, but in best practices and all of the little components and ideas that go into making an effective online learning experience. So I've completed several ADDIE model instructional design projects. I've been able to use my skills to create courses in Canvas and Articulate 360. And all of that is backed by these best practices like the universal design theory and adult education theory. So through this program, I feel like I've learned so much about instructional technology and learning technologies, but also where I want my career to go. I've gained real focus in what I want to do with all of this wonderful information that I've gathered. And I feel prepared to walk into the field with experience and knowing the lingo, and really being able to back what I'm saying with actual examples that I've completed in the program. Speaking of those, the one I'm most proud of is this one on the left. I used the ADDIE model to create a digital onboarding for my campus that they'll be using at the beginning of next school year. So I'm excited to see how that goes or hear about how that goes. I also was recently able to put together a proposal for my campus that we buy a set of 30 VR headsets to share among the campus. And so that took not only understanding VR, but understanding how it could work on our campus and how it could ultimately support learning and even support teachers. So that was a really good project. And I've got two more. The one on the left, I located digital social emotional learning and made a plan to integrate that on my campus. And then I also got to practice a lot with these graphic design presentations, some of them in my multimedia class with Dr. Cockeram. So I attached one here. This is the ins and outs of qualitative research. So the projects are varied. I've done them independently. I've worked digitally with a team. And it's all just been really, really informative. And I'm excited to have all of this experience backing me as I enter the field. So that's me.
Thank you, Jessica. And I think we may both want to speak to the Learning Technology Student Association, where Jessica is the secretary. This is a new organization, and we are very excited about it. We actually were just approved as an organization about 2 weeks ago, but we have a lot of ideas, a lot of opportunities coming up. So we've already started some of the events for connecting with other learning technology students, but we also have plans to network with industries, organizations, alumni. There will be opportunities, many opportunities to develop leadership skills, both training and opportunities to share, to find jobs and resources, and to work on multidisciplinary collaborations, as well as building personal academic and career skills. So Jessica, if I've left something out, go ahead and jump right in, but we're
That's pretty much it. I think because so many of us are digital, we thought this would be a great way to connect us, so we can talk about all these wonderful things that Dr. Cockeram just shared, career development and skill development and making connections, but also just working together and knowing that you've got a group of people that you can reach out to about a class that you're in, or an assignment that you're completing, and know that there are people who have done it before as well, who can kind of help you out with that. So the connection, fostering connection among students, and then also with professional industries, that's our ultimate goal.
Thank you. Just a couple of more notes about the master's program. There are 3 different modes. So 100% online. If you choose to be a totally online student, that is an option. There's also an in-person format. if you would prefer to come to the campus. And then there's a hybrid mode that includes both face-to-face and online. No GRE is required. As I mentioned earlier, there's no thesis. Instead, it's portfolio-based. There is an accelerated option. If you are so motivated, you can complete the degree in 14 months. And the online option is flexible and asynchronous. So several different benefits of the MS program. And this is another student, a recent graduate, Carrie Burt, who got her MS in December. She was one of UNT's great grads. And before she graduated, she already had a position as an instructional designer. As she mentioned how she was able to use her training that she had in the program, and even during her interview, to support getting the job and how it's helped her in her job. We also have a graduate academic certificate. If you're thinking you might want to do the master's program, but you're not for sure, or if you just need a little bit of extra training, you can get a graduate academic certificate. This is 4 courses, 12 credit hours. All of these credit hours will apply to the master's program. So if you're thinking about it, it's a good way to get started and kind of get your feet wet and decide if this is really what you want to do. And now I'd like to introduce the director of our PhD program, Dr. Scott Warren.
Hey there, everybody. Apologies, I've been a little under the weather. So our PhD program is a cohort-based model, so it starts once a year. You get to take classes with your peers in a very structured fashion throughout. That way you're taking things with the same people each time so you can support each other throughout the program. You have a faculty mentor, we call it associate graduate faculty member, who is going to be with you the entire time. And they're going to give you a lot of mentoring and support to help answer any of your questions about the program as you're working through it. The program is 60 to 69 hours for the PhD. At other programs, like some that your faculty have graduated from, it's 90 or more. I think mine wound up being 102 once upon a time. One of the nice things about this with the PhD is this is a transition degree. This is where you want to shift from what you're doing to research career. Sometimes people are doing it to advance where they are now. We've had students who have been able to switch into medical science officer positions in pharmaceutical companies. We've had people move into associate director and director positions, and even superintendent positions of technology as a result of getting the PhD program done here. We also have a lot of students who've moved into research positions as faculty members at universities, and there's also a lot of opportunities in corporate spaces where students move into roles where research is more of a focus. One of the nice things that we now have is the ability to complete a second residential PhD in as little as 39 hours. You don't have to redo all the research. I myself did that in the College of Business and got another PhD. It was nice to be able to do that. I think for me, it wound up being 48 hours just because I didn't have the business background. But if you already have a PhD, this is a nice option. The dissertation, a lot of other programs, they require that you sit for a long period of time and write questions for 6 to 9 hours during a single day for comprehensive exams. Or my experience at Indiana University many years ago was they gave you 3 weeks to write 3 articles, and that was pretty brutal. We actually look at all of the work that you've compiled throughout your program, as part of a portfolio so that you can show us what you've learned and why you're prepared to move into the dissertation stage. And then traditional and manuscript style dissertation formats. So we've got two different ways to do this. One is what you may understand as a traditional dissertation, which is an introduction, background or literature review, your methods chapter, your findings, and your outcomes. We also have the ability to create 3 articles and submit them for publication. You'll need to have at least one that's actually been published for the manuscript style dissertation. So that helps you as you transition into your career by actually having publications done before you graduate. So that's pretty helpful. Next slide, please. Now, similar to the master's, there's 2 delivery mode options. We have the residential, which is your traditional format. You have more options for electives in that. We have on-campus and sometimes hybrid classes. A lot of those courses will meet at least 7 to 10 times during the semester face-to-face. And then it's flexible so that some of the class meetings will be completely online. That's 9 hours per semester, so it winds up taking you 3 to 4 years to get through. One of the benefits to the residential is you can have a minor. We've had a lot of students minor in business, information science, educational research, and in other areas. That is an option that is reserved only for the residential students. Distributed option is what we call our online. We're not technically allowed to call it an online program because there is a residential component to it. The courses are delivered completely online. The way that you meet the residency is you come to campus for 3 to 4 days each fall in order to attend our residential meeting. There are face-to-face activities there. You meet with the faculty that you're working with, you meet with your peer students. And during that time, you're taking 6 credit hours instead of 9 like you would in the residence, except that you do that in the fall, the spring, and the summer. Once you've completed that during those 3 years, then you move into the dissertation. So the distributed takes a little bit longer, but you're taking fewer courses. So for those of you that are working full time, this might be an easier way to do this. My wife is in a PhD program in philosophy that requires 9 hours. We had a baby 4 months ago. And I can tell you doing 9 hours in a semester can be challenging when you're also working. So for a lot of you that might be thinking about the PhD program, the distributed is a nice option because it just requires a little less of you in terms of hourly commitment during the semester. Next slide, please. So why do this? Well, we have a lot of support for you in the program. As Dr. Gov mentioned earlier, we have a lot of different faculty with a lot of different knowledge and skills. Everybody in our department is well known in their fields. They publish a lot, so we can help you with the work of becoming a researcher. Your associate graduate faculty member, that mentor, they're going to provide you with monthly meetings or even more often to help provide you with that support for the educational work that you're doing, especially when you have questions about assignments or how to ask for help in the program with the faculty and with your peers. And they're also just really good emotional support folks. PhD programs can be a little bit stressful, and having this associate graduate faculty member is extremely helpful just to help you get through all of this. And the benefit of that face-to-face fall residency meeting is it gives you that annual contact so that you stay connected with your faculty, with your peers, and it helps build a bond that can support you throughout the program. Now, in terms of what you learn, you get skills in research and communication that are extremely beneficial to transitioning into a research career. A lot of folks I know are interested in things like information science, data science, Well, our faculty have extremely strong backgrounds in quantitative methods, including things like data mining, analytics, traditional research, pre and post-test types of studies that are in high demand, especially in artificial intelligence spaces, data science spaces, especially if you want to work in the education industry. A lot of the corporate spheres right now are looking for people who have a strong quantitative data analysis skill set that's going to help move them into working with people that support education in K-12, higher ed, and corporate. We also offer qualitative research backgrounds, and for those of you that don't know that tends to be where we do descriptive research, where we're explaining what people's perceptions are through surveys, through through interviews, and through other more intensive methods. And it helps us build frameworks, which is extremely important in things like learning analytics and artificial intelligence right now. We tend to think of the quantitative primarily because a lot of these are mathematically based, but you have to have qualitative frameworks that help explain what's happening. So that is in fairly high demand in a lot of corporate places. That's going to change depending on what availability is in terms of the fall residency. Often it's in September, sometimes it's in October. It's going to depend on the availability of space here at UNT. So this past year it was around September 21st. We'll try to target it for similar time each year. But again, it's going to depend on when we can schedule things. We also try to avoid things like the Texas Motor Speedway tends to be busy at certain times of year. There are certain conferences we have to avoid, things like that. So you'll learn more about that. And then in terms of connections and resources, because we have a very large faculty, they support a lot of different interests. So if you're interested in something, you can usually find somebody who's going to support your research interest. One of the other really nice things is that we have collaborations with other universities in the US, China, India, and in some instances, South America, Canada, Europe. And that gives you a lot of opportunities to work in innovative projects around the world. I do a lot of work, for example, with the Immersive Learning Research Network. A lot of the faculty there are in Germany, Portugal, Spain, France, and England. So I can introduce you to folks that are doing augmented reality, virtual reality in other spaces that potentially have grant funding and other supports. A lot of our faculty have worked with folks in China on large-scale projects. So there are a lot of opportunities for you here to grow your network and look at ways to transfer yourself from just US audiences out into the rest of the world. Our courses are delivered using a lot of different technology. Zoom tends to be kind of the starting point, but then we move into things like Padlet, virtual reality spaces, and really try to immerse you in what you're learning about as you try to figure out how you're going to study these somewhat complex technologies. We tend to update our courses every year or two using the feedback that you provide us. And in addition, the university gives lots of digital resources to help you with your research, designing your projects. Our libraries tend to be extremely supportive. The online librarian here at UNT actually graduated from our PhD program 2 years ago, Miranda Roy. So we tend to get very good support from the library. Next. Now, what are the job prospects? We have K-12 technology and leadership folks. I mentioned before, we've got people who moved into associate superintendent positions. I know in Louisville ISD, where Jessica is, Chris Bigenho, who was in charge or may still be in charge of the online K-12 school there, graduated from our program in 2012 or 13. We have a lot of folks who move into upper level positions in technology leadership in that K-12 sphere. We've had a bunch of folks move into higher education faculty positions over the years. We've had recently folks get tenure at Texas A&M Commerce, at trying to remember, Sul Ross University. And so there are opportunities to move into faculty positions. Business training and development tends to be a pretty big space that people move into. A lot of our students have come in as K-12 teachers and librarians and moved into corporate training spaces. So if that's something that's of interest to you, we have faculty with strong backgrounds in business that can help you find positions in that space. We've had folks in government and non-governmental research organizations, Texas International Education Consortium, folks have worked for. We have people who work for the Texas Education Agency. Lots of opportunities there. One of the biggest ones over the last 20 years has been instructional design. So if you're interested in moving to instructional design spaces, we had 2 students start companies when they came into the PhD program in 2012. One is called iDesign. That one is going strong and I think has over 1,000 employees. I believe she's now retired and started a vineyard. Another student who graduated last year started an instructional design company and has now sold it to the learning management system company Moodle and works there. So there are a lot of opportunities in that space and a lot of our students move there. We've had folks work in educational game design for companies, especially helping build that back-end curriculum and interactions with media. We've had folks go to work doing educational program and project evaluation for grants. Human resource development is a new growing space. So for those of you that aren't super familiar, that's more in the corporate sphere, and it's about helping with training in order to develop human resources, but it just continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Learning and teaching research tends to be the biggest space where our students go, especially when it's mediated with technology. Again, course and curriculum development. And then one of the biggest spaces our students are working in right now, and I'm writing with quite a few of them that have graduated in the last couple of years, is on educational artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and VR. This tends to be the biggest growth area. So if you're interested, definitely look in that space. And then another huge area has been digital textbook and software development. A lot of the textbook companies don't call themselves that anymore. They call themselves digital service providers because that's what they do. And definitely look into that next. So this is something, it's slightly modified from what you originally said. But one of our faculty members said this a couple of years ago: technologies change. They change what people do, what they can do, and what they want to do. It's not about the tool. It is about whether and how a technology, system, or process improvement can support human development. So with these technologies, we're here to support other people. We don't function by ourselves. We support everybody else. We just happen to be good at tools. Next. So this is a quote from one of our recent grads, Tatiana. It was great experience being a PhD student in learning technologies at UNC. With the incredibly supportive professors, I have not only built long-lasting connections and friendships, but also managed to significantly advance my career by diving deeply into the field of VR technologies. The program gives great opportunities to seek professional advancement in both education and industry. So again, I mentioned VR. She was able to switch straight into that position right after graduation, which has been fantastic. Next slide. So admissions. First off, if you want to apply, you need to apply to the goapplytexas.org, pay the application fee. If you're an international student, you need to make sure that you get a satisfactory score on the TOEFL. Or you can go through the Intensive English Language Institute program, and you have to get through level 6 here at UNT. We need your transcripts, and you need a minimum master's GPA of 3.5. The 2025 cohort application, that is for next fall, not this fall, is December 31st, 2024. We just closed applications for the second time. We closed and reopened to get a few more people in recently, but we have to stop because we have to be able to do new student orientation and everything else. So step 2, once you get through the Go Apply Texas, you'll apply to our department. Now, GRE, if you have graduated from an LT master's program, ours or an equivalent one in the last 3 years, we automatically waive the GRE. If you graduated from an equivalent program that is sort of similar, it doesn't have to be educational technology, it could be special education, it could be information science, it could be something that is similar enough that we feel like it's okay, then we will review it and likely waive the GRE. If you have any questions about that, please email me at scott.warren@unt.edu or lt-phd@UNT, and we will answer your questions. There are some other documents. You're going to tell us who you want as your associate graduate faculty member. That's your advisor. We need a resume from you, personal statement of what you want to do. We need a writing sample and 3 letters of recommendation. With all of that, you're pretty much done with the application. So if you have any questions, here are some other information about the PhD that you can go with.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Warren, for all that information about the PhD program. I know a few people have joined us a little bit later after we already discussed the MS slides, so we will go back over the Masters of Science in Learning Technology slides here in just a minute. But let's go ahead and wrap up the information. Dr. Cockrum, would you like to talk about the admissions process for the Learning Technology slide?
Sure. The actual process is very similar to the PhD application. Basically, you apply to the UNT's Toulouse Graduate School. There's a $75 application fee for any master's application at UNT. You will need official transcripts from any college or university you've attended. English language proficiency is required for international applications, and minimum GPA for acceptance into the master's program is a 3.0. You'll also apply to the Learning Technologies department. So once you've applied to the graduate school, they'll send you an email with a PIN number. Once you've got that activated, then you'll need to submit a resume or curriculum vitae, a personal statement stating your educational and professional goals. So this is where you get to showcase your writing skills. You need to have at least 2 references, fill out the reference form. And once you get all that submitted, the status of your reference letters will be showing up in your My UNT portal. And here are some resource numbers if you have any questions about the Masters of Science program.
Do you want me to take over, Dr. Cockrum, and talk about the deadlines?
Sure. Let's see, I'm looking at, okay, yes, go ahead, sure.
Okay, so basically, we do have some deadlines for applying so that we can get all the paperwork done and get you ready to start the program in the fall. So if you're applying for fall, then you need to have applied no later than June 15th, but the earlier the better. And that's for domestic students. If you're applying for summer, we'd like you to apply no later than April 15th. And then also, again, the earlier the better, but those are the priority deadlines as set by the Toulouse Graduate School. If you're an international student, you need to apply a little bit sooner because there are a lot of steps in the process. If you're applying for fall, we ask that you apply no later than April 15th, but we do encourage you to apply as soon as possible so that you can get all of your documentation in order in time.
I do want to add one thing, and that is there is no summer cohort for the master's program. So if you're interested in the master's program, the next date for you to start would be in the fall.
Okay, that's good to know. I believe maybe this date is for people who are staying in their country and taking the program online, perhaps. Okay, and then a lot of students ask these questions when they apply for a master's degree. So we're going to go ahead and go over the frequently asked questions. First of all, you can take up to 5 years to complete a master's degree. I know Dr. Cockram told you could complete it in as soon as 14 months if you'd like to, but you don't have to. If you're working, if you're a parent, if you have other things going on, you can certainly take up to 5 years, but you need to complete it within 5 years. We do have an academic catalog, or UNT publishes an academic catalog that is very useful for reading the course descriptions. And you can go to this link here, and the only thing you'll need to do is make sure that you go to the drop-down menu and choose the graduate catalog, not the undergraduate catalog. And then you can put in LTEC, and that will pull up all the courses for the master's program and also the PhD program, and you can read through any of the descriptions that you want to know. And of course, you can also reach out to us if you want a more deep course description on anything. Part-time enrollment for a master's degree is considered 3 to 6 credit hours. So that's 1 to 2 courses. I know that the Master's in Learning Technologies program has an option to sometimes do 8-week courses. So you could be in 2 courses at a time and still finish 3 in 1 semester if you're in the online program. Does that also work for the in-person? Dr. Cockram, do we have any in-person? Yes, okay. And then full-time enrollment is 9 credit hours. So if you'd like to just be a student, we would recommend that if you're doing 9 credit hours, at least that's my recommendation, that you just be a student or maybe work part-time. I did work part-time during my master's program, but not full-time. It would be very difficult. Jessica, what did you do?
I'm a full-time employee. I've been a full-time teacher the whole time, but I think that I've done, 2 at a time, 2 per semester, or maybe 3 if I'm doing the 8 and 8.
Okay, and that was doable for you?
Yes, it was doable. It was a fun challenge. It relates so much to my job in education. So there was so much overlap that I kept learning something and then I could apply that at work. It was really challenging. I've lost a lot of free time. I'll have to figure out how to spend again.
Yes, well, that might be fun.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you're wanting to, get an idea of how much it's going to cost you, there's a really great tuition calculator at this link. Or if you just Google UNT tuition calculator, you can put in, it depends on you, if you're international or domestic, if you're in-state or out-of-state, if you're fully online or doing the in-person program, how many credits you're going to take per semester, and you can plug that in at the tuition calculator and get a good idea with the fees and the tuition, how much you'll pay per semester. And then we absolutely want you to know that not only does the Learning Technologies Department have a lot of resources for you, as they've overviewed in this webinar, but also the College of Information, which is, the college that is over the Department of Learning Technologies, has a lot of resources for you. Dr. Warren mentioned that there's a mentoring program for the doctoral students, which is true, and that's run through the department. But we also have a mentoring program for all College of Information students, which you would be a College of Information student, and it would connect you to an alum working in the field. Jessica, do you want to speak to that? Because you were part of the mentoring program.
Sure. Yeah. The mentoring program is one of the best things that I've, outside of my classes, that I got out of this program. Another PhD graduate from the program is a director of digital learning at the Texas Board of Higher Education. She does a lot of work with resources and digital learning for our Texas higher education institutions. And she's just been invaluable connecting me to people in the field, but also giving me insight into what it's really like to work in the field. I love bouncing ideas off of her and hearing what she's working on. So it's been really, really great.
Thank you so much for that overview of the mentoring program. It's semester by semester, so we open it up for students to apply at the beginning of each semester, usually a month before classes start, and then you would be paired with that mentor for the semester. And then it would be your choice if you wanted to sign up again or for a new mentor, or as Jessica has done, you've kind of stayed with your mentor informally, right, outside of the program. Okay, and then UNT has an awesome career center. They have career fairs going on all the time. We have a STEM career fair that happens right here in Discovery Park, where we are. We also have a career coach that is designated just for our college. Her name's Anna Moats, and she meets with students to go over their resumes and helps them with how to search for jobs and internships. She also gives advice about cover letters, and the Career Center has many activities that can help you. Maybe you just want to come in and talk to a couple companies, not the career fair. They do Get Hired Wednesdays, and they invite 4 companies in at a time. We also have a student money management center that's at the UNT level, and that resource has been very useful for students who find themselves in a crisis or having trouble managing their budget once they're here. They give advice about all that, and they also have some emergency funds that can be accessed. We have a student health and wellness center, which is wonderful. If you feel sick, you can make an appointment there and get help. You are a UNT student, so you will have UNT insurance. And we have a counseling and testing center. So if you need help with any mental health issues, we do have also free mental health, which is maybe the only time in your life that you could actually access free mental health care. We highly recommend you use it. We have a learning center, which offers all kinds of learning resources for students. They have tutoring, they have a writing center, they have math center, they have everything that you could need to help you be successful as a student at UNT. And then Dr. Ge mentioned the scholarships for the Department of Learning Technologies, but we also have a scholarship at the College of Information level. And then, of course, the graduate school has some scholarships that you can apply for. If you're an international student, they have some scholarships you can apply for. And finally, UNT has some scholarships, and there's external scholarships that you can check into. So one of the things I want to talk to you about is not only do we have all these resources, but we also have a lot of great events going on all the time in our college. So Industry Insights is one of the events that I'd like to tell you about. You may see the board behind me, and you can see all of the events that we have going on that we keep track of on the board. Industry Insights is a chance for you to join us virtually. So it's perfect for distance learners. And also if you're an in-person learner, but you really just prefer to stay home and in your pajamas, you can join Industry Insights and learn directly from one of our alumni. And as a matter of fact, this month on March 26th, let me double check. Yes, March 26th, we have Andrea Caraway. She's a 2017 graduate of the Learning Technologies program, and she was hired by UNT to be the online student success coordinator, student experience manager. And she was actually working for UNT when she joined the master's program. And then when she finished the master's program, she was promoted into this role that they created for her because of all the technology that she learned and all the ways that she can be a resource now to UNT students. So we'd love to invite you to join us for this event. You just have to grab that QR code and you can register and join us virtually to listen to Andrea Caraway talk about her role at UNT using her Master's of Technologies, Learning Technologies degree. So we're at the end of our presentation.